Well, good morning, everyone. I trust that everyone has had a chance to write a gratitude on the paper and crumple it up and put it in the bowl, and that will be addressed later in the service, and we thank you for doing that. Please join me as I ring the Tibetan bowl as a call to service, listening as the sound fills the sanctuary and then recedes back into the silence. This is the time that we open our hearts and minds to receive all the blessings, all the love that this congregation has to offer. Thank you, Michael. Well, good morning and welcome and happy pre-Thanksgiving to our members and friends and visitors, both in the sanctuary and on Zoom, to the Unitarian Universalists of the Chester River, a church special in our lives, active in the world, and grounded in love and justice. Love is the power that holds us together as a beloved community. As we enter into worship then, let us open our hearts to the healing power of liberating love, to the young and the old, the innocent and the jaded, the fresh of mind and the deeply steeped. There is room here for each and every one of us. Come, be among us. You are welcome. My name is Annie Lavin, and I am pleased to be your service leader this morning. The title of our service is Living a Life of Gratitude as Sanctuary People. And we're especially pleased that today's service is an intergenerational one, with UU Youth and others in attendance and participating in the service. And Reverend Catherine will be delivering a sermon titled Gratitude in the Time That Is Given to Us. And we'll have reflections on gratitude by various members of the congregation. Special gratitude to our musician and accompanist, Michael Casey. To the tech team, we love each and every one of you. Nancy is our greeter, Joy Kim. So special when that coffee is out there, and special treats today on the Thanksgiving table. Darlene in the office. I came late yesterday and she was just leaving, having prepared the order of service as she does every week, and so much more. We are grateful to all of these. Their names are in the order of service. A few announcements. At 3 p.m. today, across the street at the Presbyterian Church, there is an interfaith service provided by or sponsored by the CVMA, Chester Valley Ministers Association. Reverend Catherine is participating, and we invite you to all stop by. It's a lovely service, a Thanksgiving service. December 13th, there's a Sioux Sampler here. It's a fundraiser. It's delicious in every way. You'll want to stop by 5:30. See Jane Hardy for tickets. There's an Adopt a Family gifting tag sale after this service. We adopt a family and we get gifts for the family members, and we deliver them by December the 8th. It's a way of playing Santa. And December 8th, also after the service, anyone who's interested in joining a choir, a choir, a dream of ours for forever, come by the piano and join. I see a choir for us in the new year. So that would be December 8th. Oh, so much more. Look at the reflections. It's just filled with wonderful announcements. You don't want to miss a thing. And now if you'll silence your phones, if any haven't been silenced, we can begin. The chalice lighting words today are in the insert in your order of service. So if you'll get to those, Reverend Catherine will lead you in saying the words in the order of service as I light the chalice. Thank you.
Spirit of life, source of life and love, as we light this candle, we give thanks for the company of those assembled here. Thank you for the breezes of change, clearing out our fresh ideas. May we cleanse our minds of oppressions and isms that divide us. Thank you for the flame of hope, the heat of righteousness, the warmth of compassion, and the fire of commitment. May they bubble the cauldrons of transformation. Thank you for oceans of love, rivers of connection, tears of relief, and pools of serenity. May healing waters flow over us, and through us, and among us. Thank you for the good earth beneath us, around us, and within us. May we take this clay and co-create a new realm of justice and beauty. Thank you for all this and more. We accept our gifts and commit to building, sculpting, painting, singing, and dancing them to life, to abundant life. So be it. Blessed be.
Our first hymn is number 349, the Gray Hymnal. We gather together. Please rise as you are able. Well, the holidays are here, ready or not. And there was never a better time than now to join hands and hearts in gratitude for each other and this UU community and all that has brought us here today. Thanksgiving has always been a favorite time for me, not loud and showy like the other holidays. It reminds me of a dear old family relative arriving just when needed most, magically slipping in quietly between boisterous summer and Christmas time with all that tinsel and glitter, bringing soft words of wisdom from the earth and offering generous bounty before slipping quietly away into the silence of winter and asking so little in return. Take me with you. We need the comfort of this season. There's so much brokenness in the world. But friends, remember this. Things do break. Things get mended. Not just with time, as they say, but with intention. And so we remember to love intentionally, extravagantly, unconditionally. The broken world waits in shadows for the light that is all of us. And that is something that is ours alone to give and for which we can be grateful. With the passing years, as I and perhaps all of us tend to become more introspective, I'm curious, I'm intrigued with the idea of gratitude, far beyond the simple thank you that we give to each other, heartfelt for sure. But I'm talking about the essence of gratitude, just what that is and the power it has to shape my life and the person I'm daily creating. So I started thinking of the various ways I enter into gratitude, into the practice of gratitude. Sometimes I come to it as a deliberate practice, as when I'm trying to get to sleep at night and I'm reviewing at the day's end all the things to be grateful for, kind of like counting sheep. Other times I enter gratitude out of surprise, like one of the grandkids decides to call for no good reason at all. Imagine that. Or an unexpected kindness comes my way and it just fills me to the brim with gratitude spontaneously. And then there's that backhanded kind of way to enter into gratitude, like when something not so great happens and you're counting your blessings because it could have been worse. But what I would like to achieve one day, what I aspire to, is not to become expert in these or any other way of entering into gratitude, but rather to stay in this precious place, to dwell there as my chosen way of being alive in the world. A constant state of living in gratitude. Is this possible? Is this something one can aspire to? I recently read this. What really counts is that we remember that everything is gratuitous, everything is a gift. An example is the breath that we're breathing at this exact moment. Yes, that one that's already gone, without any guarantee that another breath will follow. How we assume the next breath is ours until it isn't. One of the best gifts of all is the ringside seat we're given as observers to the natural world. All the mystery and the wonder and the magnificence, all the amazement and gratitude we should feel, that not often enough. Are we paying attention? And you know, gratefulness is the measure of our aliveness, since we are dead to whatever we take for granted. I close with the sharing of two short poems. So short, you gotta listen carefully or you'll miss them. One from Mary Oliver, who chooses her words so carefully here. That God and the world know that you are grateful that the gift has been given. That's it. The importance of gratitude for the gift. And the second, and I say this humbly because I'm quoting Psalm 107, and I've never quoted a psalm before. This is the day we're given. This is the day we're given. That's it. Sounds like a gift, and so we know what comes next. Thank you, and blessed be. We'll take a moment now to stop and reflect on what gratitude you feel in your heart. And stay there just a minute before continuing on with the service. Blessed be. And now we invite you to take the insert that is in your order of service. And on the side that has the autumn leaves, you'll see a special blessing. All that we share is sacred. And we're going to read that together, and then in the reflection, we'll hear the first reflection that will be given by Theo on gratitude. So together we'll do the first reading. As we gather together, may we remember when you share with me what is most important to you, that is where listening begins. When I show you that I hear you, when I say your life matters, that is where compassion begins. When I open the door to greet you, that is where hospitality begins. When I venture out to bring you to shelter, that is where love begins. And now Theo's reflection on gratitude. Okay. Is it on?
I think so. Yeah, wait. No, grab the other one.
This one's on. Okay. So we aren't all born with wealth or power. And sometimes we feel like we don't have a lot to be grateful for. But with gratitude, we have the ability to shape our lives. Gratitude is pausing to reflect on the good things we have. It's acknowledging the positive parts of our lives. When we're asked the age-old question, what are you thankful for? We respond with the basics: a roof over our heads, the people who care about us, or a nice dinner. But sometimes we forget to be thankful for our challenges, a long drive to a flute lesson, or all day spent cleaning your room. Our problems, okay. We focus on not what we lost, but what we learned. We see the good in things. By doing this, we can make our lives so much richer and fuller, all just by stepping back and saying thank you. And that's it. It's kind of short.
Thank you, Theo. Thank you very much. And now we'll continue with the reading. When I risk my comfort to ease your suffering, when I act against hatred, violence, and injustice, that is where courage begins. When we experience the full presence of each other, because of our shared humanity, because of our differences, that is where holy gratitude begins. And now Joan will give us her reflection.
Good morning. Thank you. It's an honor to share with you my personal experience with gratitude. I'm a bit older than Theo, so mine might be a little bit longer. And I want to thank Reverend Catherine for the invitation to do this. When I reflected on how gratitude shows up in my life, I am reminded of all the many precious gifts I've received from our ancestors, gifts that I did not work for, earn, or deserve. I've read that gratitude is an attitude of appreciation for unearned advantages and opportunities. In fact, the Latin root of the word gratitude is grata, or gift, and a related word with the same root is grace, another gift freely given, not earned. When I think of my own unearned gifts, there are those that affect my physical being and those that touch my spirit and my soul. Among the first, from conception through childhood, my body has benefited from countless unearned advantages, starting with the nutritious food that my father grew in his garden and the meals my mother prepared, the braces they financed to straighten my teeth, and vaccines that kept me safe from diseases. I am grateful. On the spiritual front, I also received from my parents and from the Catholic faith I was raised in, but later set aside, a strong foundation in values like hard work, love, kindness, fairness, truth, and honesty, also social responsibility and justice. These values remained operative throughout my life, and they were reinforced and enhanced by many dear friends and colleagues, and in particular by my life partner, Eileen. I am grateful. I often reflect on the good fortune of being born into this country with an enviable tradition of institutions of democracy, these passed down from our ancestors. The brilliance, foresight, and poetry of the founding documents are a treasure worth fighting to preserve and perfect. The courage of those who struggled and died to fight for independence, for the preservation of our union, for freedom from slavery, for women's suffrage, for LGBT rights, for civil rights, for voting rights. This is an inspiration. I am grateful. When I finally settled into a profession in international affairs, I had the opportunity to live out these values in my life's work. For 30 years, I served at the Inter-American Dialogue, a think tank where I worked alongside leaders and grassroots activists alike in the pursuit of common goals like press freedom, women's leadership, democracy, and human rights. The commitment of these brave leaders inspired me. I am grateful. Most significantly, I am overwhelmed, especially since moving to the Eastern Shore, by the endless delights gifted by Mother Nature. The splendor of the rising and setting sun on the Chester River, the majesty of the enormous white pines, holly, and magnolia trees, the graceful swaying of the weeping willows, the majestic ballet of eagles and great blue herons in flight. These treasures are endless and daily evoke awe. I am grateful. But gratitude is not just a spontaneous emotion, rather a choice, an attitude. Alexis de Tocqueville described it as a habit of the heart. It is said that the daily practice of gratitude opens the heart, and like love, it can be, some might say should be, a call to action as well. We are obliged to be stewards of these gifts and to pass them on. In closing, I also would like to share a brief poem by Mary Oliver. Thankfully, it's different from the one that we've heard earlier. And this one describes how one might express gratitude. It's called Praying. It doesn't have to be the blue iris. It could be weeds in a vacant lot or a few small stones. Just pay attention, then patch a few words together and don't try to make them elaborate. This isn't a contest, but the doorway into thanks and a silence in which another voice may speak. Thank you.
I got so carried away with that poem, I'm a million miles away. All right, we're having acknowledgements of the heart. This is that special time when we share with each other the high spots and the low, the brightness and the shadows of our daily lives. It builds the beloved community. And I think today there's so much to share, so I'm going to light the candle if you will come up and share with us using the mic. I'd like to have a birthday blessings to Kathy Lee and Jan Brandon and Diane Shields and Paula Hubbard. That will be our first lighted candle today.
Can we say something on the Zoom?
Yes, please.
I was just going to say happy birthday to Grammy D. Actually, I have 3 things. Happy birthday to Grammy D. We'll see you later this week.
That's
And-
Diane Shields.
That's Diane Shields, yeah. And Annie, this just reminded me of you that we still have this book in every tiny grain of sand that you gave us for the babies, and it's still one of my favorite children's books. So that's just a joy and a gratitude for today. And I want to see a choir too, but I can't sing and I live over an hour away. That's it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm lighting candles up here. This candle is for Theo, who I remember as a little tiny kid coming in here, always contributing, always being the special person he is and continues to be today. So this is for you, Theo. Oh, and wave, Camille. Hi.
So let's see if I can get through this. I have a joy and a grief that I want to light a candle for. I woke up this morning really missing my mom, and we were pretty close. Not pretty close, we were very close. But what I'm missing is some lost opportunities for conversation. Like, she did not live to see the turning over of Roe versus, she didn't live to see that. And she's not here now to be in conversation. And there were conversations she and I should have had while she was still alive, just about our family and ourselves. So I'm really missing that. But, and I think this just happened, and Annie, you can correct me, but the psalm that you quoted, I think it is the same one that my mom would always start her day with. And so thank you for channeling that. When you said this is the day we are given, let us, I think the next piece of that is let us rejoice and be glad in it. Is that correct? So, thank you so much.
I have a joy. My daughter called this week and asked for advice. This daughter in particular is not prone to that. She likes doing things on her own and not being told what to do. But it was, they're considering buying a new house, a big house. And she said, Dad, you bought and sold 5 or 6 houses, so I thought you might be helpful. Anyway, that was a joy.
That is a joy.
Well, in the days leading up to Thanksgiving, I've been thinking about what I'm thankful for, and not just generally, but specifically. And I had 2 things. The first is Michael Casey. We are so fortunate to have Michael here, but also in our community. I attended the Ride the Cyclone, and it was wonderful. But, Michael will be the music director in Beauty and the Beast. And he just brings so much to all of us and also to our community. So I'm deeply grateful for that. The other thing that I'm deeply grateful for is the Whitsitt Center here in Chestertown. It is the addiction treatment inpatient facility. And my son was there recently, maybe the third or fourth time. And they're an exceptional place, and we're so fortunate to have them. The staff are caring, they're knowledgeable, they're part of the community, and they give me and my son strength and hope. So I'm grateful to them.
Thanks, Lynn.
Toll with getting old. This is a thank you for all the people here who helped me get to things like this service. Now that I don't drive, I worry, well, how am I going to get to church? How am I going to get here? And you know, magically, people show up and say, I heard you needed to be here or there. And I am so grateful to all of you.
I won't be here next Sunday because I'll be in Rehoboth celebrating 45 years with my husband. So I'm very grateful that Joe Riding agreed to date me many years ago when I was a little bit of an upstart.
I'm gonna hold this. Are you coming up? Okay.
Good morning. I want to say first that I consider myself a very fortunate man. In many ways, for many reasons, but the most fortunate thing that I embrace is my amazing wife, Diane Shields. Some of you know her fairly well. I probably know her better than most of you. She is one of the most splendid person I've ever met. The only one that comes close to her, okay, is my Aunt Alice, and I think I've told you some about her, the Maryknoll nun, who was caught up in the Second World War. The Japanese invaded the Philippines, where she was teaching at the Maryknoll College for Women. Those Japanese soldiers, they dragged together all the so-called untouchables or something like that. That's not quite the right word. But anyway, the nuns in that school were all captured, and they were taken to an internment camp in which they lived for 3 years. No change of clothing, very little food, and so on. She survived. And I first met her, I think, when I was 10 years old. And it's her heart mind, my aunt's heart mind, that really, how do I say it? I connected with it somehow. And my dear friend, wife, has the same kind of heart mind. She would do anything to help people who are in stress of some sort, and you all know some of that. But I could list at least, I'm not going to list them, thousands of things that she has done for me over the years. And I don't know whether I'd be here today if it weren't for her. I don't want to fall over here. That's why I brought my cane. She tended me through all of that trouble with my fall and the 2 falls that I had, and was so patient with me most of the time. But anyway, she is a wonder to me, and I think those of you who know her somewhat would probably consider her a wonder as well. So I am blessed fortunate and very happy to have her as my life mate. Yeah. So.
Well, we have plenty of candles. Gratitude to our dear friend Vida. I told her yesterday when I met her, it was almost dark. She came in with her arms full of marigolds. And I always forget to thank her. Look at this. Once again, beautiful artistry from our master gardener. And so I'm going to light a final candle for those thoughts, those joys and concerns that remain unspoken in our hearts. And then we'll have a moment of silence to reflect. And blessed be. And now we have our sermon. It's entitled Gratitude in the Time That Is Given Us by our minister, Reverend Catherine. Oh, yes. Yes, we do. I'll pass the baskets for the offertory to support the mission of this church. Is it? The papers with the gratitudes are being collected and are put up here next to the flaming chalice. And you'll notice this song that's being played, Autumn Leaves, my favorite. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. That was beautiful. Beloveds, I am grateful to be here with you today, right now. Annie, Theo, and Joan shared powerfully how they live and experience gratitude in their daily lives. And so many other examples of that were also heard in our heartfelt joys and sorrows. Gratitude shapes how we make meaning of the world, and all of our gratitudes help us acknowledge all the gifts in our life that we've received and the choices that we make in this one wild, wonderful life. Let us take a breath together. One of the first things I learned when I took command of a medical company was to focus my attention and effort on energy on things that were within my span of impact. My attention was the most valuable resource that I controlled, and it was and is finite. The company is responsible for medical care for all of those in our area of assignment, all US or coalition forces, emergency care of civilians, and more. And I was responsible to ensure everyone was ready to do that and to support 80 soldiers' career and training. I didn't do all the things. There was a lot to do. And there was a lot both within and beyond that span of impact. And knowing that difference is essential. It helped me focus on what I control, my actions, and what I influence, my relationships, and what I needed to learn. And beloveds, I learned so much in this and future roles. And as I learned better, I did better. And I learned in this time to be grateful for each breath, each lesson, each interaction, every conversation that showed me something I didn't see on my own. Each one of them have contributed to who I am today. This time comes up for me in considering the time that is given to us. So given this was indeed a multi-generational service, that particular phrase comes from a movie, The Fellowship of the Ring, where the protagonist, Frodo, a hobbit, who is carrying a powerful, evil, magical artifact, comes to fully appreciate the hazards of the journey ahead of him. Earlier on, he's kind of like really happy to start this journey and go visit the elves, but in this moment, he really understands what's ahead of him. And he wishes that the ring hadn't come to him. And the wizard Gandalf answers, "So do all who live to see such times, but that is not theirs to decide. All you have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to you." So, beloveds, what will we choose to do with the time that is given to us? I choose gratitude. I choose gratitude for this breath and the next. Gratitude for the people who love me and whom I love. Gratitude for the opportunity to do ministry with this community. And gratitude for the ability to support those in harm's way and live our UU values. They are desperately needed in these times. Gratitude for the opportunity to learn and grow and be transformed. Gratitude for connection and love. Not only is deciding what to do with the time I am given all I have to do, I am the only one who can make that choice. So while I wish the world wasn't on fire, and I wish the future of this country that I love so much wasn't so tenuous, that nations around the world weren't preparing for war to come to their door, and the way autocracy is rising around the globe, that is not mine to decide. But that also does not make my decision for how to live the time I have here. Only I can do that. And I choose fierce love, powerful, committed, engaged love. I choose justice, equity, transformation, interdependence, pluralism, and gratitude. And I choose to give in every way I can to make the world a better place, to love the hell out of this world, and to live in gratitude for the gifts I receive. And oh, beloveds, I choose, even as I grieve, that I don't see how I can possibly leave a better world than I came. And that's hard. In our history, there is a history of onward progression that was embedded in our Unitarian Universalist culture, just about until World War II. And this time is a cycle around again. I choose to be the one I am waiting for, and to recognize that all my beloveds, the members of our community, the nation, and the world, they have a choice too. Reverend Dr. Susan Frederick Gray wrote, "This is no time for casual faith," during her UUA presidency. And that is true now more than ever. She called us to live our values and recognize that we are not alone. Today, I received this call to lean into our interdependence and willingness to be transformed by our relationship with each other and this life-saving, life-giving faith. I am grateful for our interdependence, for how the foundational truth is that we are never, never alone. It is impossible, no matter how lonely we may sometimes feel. I am grateful that change is the only constant, and I have the opportunity to be transformed in this moment. One of my colleagues, Reverend Margaret O'Neill, teaches that change is inevitable. Transformation is a choice. May we choose transformation, beloved. I'm grateful for generosity, that generosity that has given me the gifts, and I am grateful for the generosity that calls me to give those gifts to bless another. And I am grateful for justice and our communal covenant to work to be a diverse, multicultural, beloved communities where all feel welcomed and can thrive. I want to be part of building that world. I am grateful for equity and being part of a community that takes action to be accessible and equitable. I am grateful for pluralism, for each and every interaction that shapes another path and towards connection and meaning making and the divine. Each path has something to offer, something to teach, and deepens my understanding of the mysteries. And I am grateful for the ability to love my neighbor as myself wherever their ancestors came from, and no matter who they love or what identities they hold, love is at the center. And I am grateful to love each and every one of you in a healthy, boundaried way. There is nothing you can do that would make me love you more, and there is nothing you can do that would make me love you less. As Joan shared, gratitude is recognizing a gift, an unearned gift. And that means we give to each other freely and without expectation. We witness each other. We hold each other's celebrations and sorrows as we practice in every service, weaving our theology of relationship. And today, we celebrate our gratitude in a similar way with our gratitude confetti. But first, please rise in body or spirit and join me in singing hymn 1010, "Oh, We Give Thanks." Thank you, beloveds.
Test it. Now we'll have a few minutes for discussion or comments. Testing. Do you want to stand there or do you want to walk around with this? Oh, I can pass this.
This sounds funny. I just want to say thank you for starting this week of Thanksgiving with such a great example of how to move through the week with gratitude. I've just enjoyed it very much. Thank you.
Yeah, I was thinking about the Jesuit priests in El Salvador in the 70s and 80s, the ones that embraced liberation theology. And many of them gave their lives, as they were labeled as communists, for trying to help the Campesino population. And that takes a lot of love to do that. So that's it.
Thank you, John. One of the other founders of actually everyone who knows, so during my lifetime, HIV, or the disease that causes AIDS, has gone from being a mystery, scary death sentence to a chronic disease. And that in no small part was associated with Dr. Paul Farmer and one of the founders of liberation theology. So there's another connection as well.
Thank you for reminding us an excellent tool, gratitude, thinking of gratitude, especially when life gets very difficult and hard and depressing. It's an excellent tool, and it's nice that you reminded us to use it as a tool to come out of the desperation. Thank you.
Thank you. The power of choice is important, right? And we have that choice, right?
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say. The sense of what's been going on for the last couple weeks, it's really helpful to feel like I do have a choice. I feel frequently like I'm being battered around like a ping pong ball, but I do have a choice in how I react to this and how I behave and what I think about. So I'm grateful that you reminded me of that. Thank you.
And beloveds, one of the most powerful choices is honestly circling back to attention, right? What do we give our attention to, right? There's going to be a lot to give our attention to in times.
I'm grateful for this church. Here we have, which to me is a little town, and to be surrounded by people who believe similarly as I do, and to even have the opportunity to say that in a church, that there's not a minister up there saying, this is the way the world should be. People in the congregation are sharing their own personal lives, and that means a lot to me.
Eunice?
If we're wrapping up the discussion, I really want to build on what Catherine just offered and thank the members who collaborated with us on this service. All of you who chose to give a gratitude, by the way, I hope you did, because we're going to give them back out. And if there aren't enough, that's going to get a little awkward. And Theo and Joan, who chose to share with us, and that really deep, powerful reflections. Right?
Okay. Okay, now in your order of service, we have a sharing of our blessings that we can read together. We end our gathering with gratitude for camaraderie, shared wisdom, goodwill, and support that we extend to each other within this community. May we continue to bless each other with these gifts, and may we reflect those blessings back into the world as we minister to those around us. And now we're going to claim with gratitude these the slips of paper We're going to be passing the bowls. Maybe, Theo, want to pass one of the bowls? Please take from the bowl the gift of someone else's gratitude written on the paper. You are now the tender keeper of someone else's inspiration for gratitude, and someone is the keeper of yours. Know that they hold yours, you hold theirs, and that is how we live out the independent web of existence. Did everyone get a blessing? You might want to keep it as a reminder of how we're all blessed. You are now the keeper of someone else's, and they have yours. We are all connected, and we are all blessed. Thank you. Closing words. One gratitude. Oh, I'll take it.
Theo, didn't you know that's yours? Oh, Michael wants it? There you go.
Because I contributed one, I guess.
There you go.
There you go.
So, beloveds, may we go forth into our larger community with calm and open hearts, make peace, and grow in wholeness. Give of our light and live in integrity and reciprocity, with the spirit of life within ourselves and all living things, being fully present to each moment of this one wild, wonderful life. May it be so.
And now we'll extinguish the chalice. The words are in your order of service. We extinguish the flame, the knowledge of truth, the warmth of community, the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we meet again. And the Join us for coffee and special Thanksgiving treats.
And for anyone who felt a little extra joy in that one, I love